I recently shared a reel, shared it out on different platforms, and it was about asking yourself the question, am I willing to die for this? And that being a standard if you should engage in physical violence. We're going to explore that just a little bit more this morning. Welcome to Coffee with Alain. I'm here with a Mickey cup Disney blend of coffee. It actually is a Joffrey's brand of coffee and pretty good coffee, actually. Appreciate everybody that joins these lives and watches the replays and listens to the podcast. Also appreciate everybody that comments on the reels and other posts that I make on various social media platforms. If you could share those, comment on them, get them out to more people, greatly appreciated. So let's talk a little bit about that reel. Before we do that, I'm going to say good morning to Kellen. Appreciate her showing up and saying hello. So I posted the reel saying, ask yourself, am I willing to die for this? And if I'm not, don't engage in physical violence. We should only fight or defend ourselves when it's something so important we're willing to die for it. Now, ourselves, our body, we're willing to die for. Somebody attacks you, yeah, we're going to fight back and stop them. Raping, murder, any of those kind of things. Yes, we're going to give it our all, 100% attack back and take that criminal out. We will not let anybody violate our body or kill us or anybody that we care about. But way too often, people get into fights over stupid stuff. They let their egos and this or that get in the way of common sense. And many people have been seriously hurt or even killed because of these. Those are what I'm telling you to avoid. I wrote about this way back in the 90s with my first book, Hard Won Wisdom from the School of Hard Knocks, published by Paladin Press. In that book, I talked about the old movie Jailhouse Rock with Elvis Presley, where he got into the scrap at the beginning of the movie and the guy hit his head and died, and Elvis wound up in prison. But I'll tell you, you go to prison because you kill somebody in a fight, you're not going to come out being a singer like Elvis. It's going to be a terrible experience. So we don't want to kill somebody in a fight over stupid stuff, and we don't want to be seriously injured or killed ourselves over something stupid. So those are the altercations I'm telling people don't engage in. And why we ask ourselves, am I willing to die over this before we get stupid and get involved in physical violence? I understand there are certain cultures out there and subsets and different groups where fighting is part of it. It's almost a ritual. Sometimes it's a proving yourself and so forth. And even in those situations, sometimes people get seriously hurt and die when it wasn't intended. If you're part of a group like that, and that's part of the culture that you're in, I get it. But there's still the risk. And asking yourself, am I willing to die for this? Am I willing to kill for this? Is an important question to set a standard of when you should engage in physical violence. Because if you're not willing to die, if you're not willing to kill, don't engage. Way too many people do. And way too many people suffer terrible consequences because they didn't think about that before they engaged in the violence. And then it went to a place they didn't want or expect. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Vicky. Appreciate you guys showing up and saying hello. I think I might have first heard that question being asked by Mark McYoung or in one of Mark McYoung's books, because I know he's talked about it and wrote about it as well. It's a very important concept. and it should guide you when determining if you want to engage in physical force, physical violence. It's as simple as that. And it's a very important thing to understand when you're studying self-defense and different ways to defend yourself, whether that's empty hand techniques, whether that's weapon techniques, up to even firearms. Firearms, especially, if you're not willing to die or kill, you should not be drawing a firearm. It's that serious. And legally, you're not allowed to use a fire alarm unless it's lethal force against you. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Think about it a little bit. Make the decision for yourself and know that, and let that guide you when you're out interacting with people and if you're going to engage in physical violence or not. You know, the next time somebody cuts you off and maybe road rage is starting up, think about that. Is it worth going to those higher levels? Remember, I did a live a number of years ago before I started Coffee with Alain about the Russell Crowe movie, where the road rage incident escalated into something terrible in that movie. And sadly, sometimes road rage incidents do escalate into extreme situations where people are seriously hurt and killed over something really stupid. Don't let it happen to you. Don't be part of it. Be above that. Check your ego. Go out, be nice to people, be kind to people. Don't escalate things. Be prepared just in case you have to, but set a standard of when you will engage. That's what I wanted to share this morning. Just wanted to expand a little bit on that 30-second reel, a little bit deeper into it, give you a little bit more, something to think about, to make it a thought-provoking Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow.